I'm Lynne Browne. I'm the coordinator with the Alliance to End Homelessness in Ottawa. The Alliance is a coalition of 73 agencies who are members and a number of individuals. And all of our members, they're all in this room, effectively. We have been using a report card based on indicators and measures for 5 years now, and it has grown surprisingly to us into an amazingly effective tool. So that's sort of what my background is. I'm not a researcher, I'm a community developer. So it's what I'm commenting on is how to use this type of information strategically. So first of all, there's real differences between how the government uses data and how communities use it. On the community level, it's what we use to know that we're experts and to provide expertise to various bodies that people belong to and to inform what a concrete, detailed strategy might be. Also on the community level, though, we use that information, and I think all communities are doing this, to talk to the rest of the world or to talk to one another. Strategically, though, there's quite a few goals that you meet using data, and I think if you have them all in your mind, you can come up with what I would call effective campaigns. You use it, first of all, to provide the kind of information that shares with the community a reality check on what exists, what the government has done, versus what they've promised to do. And that information will not be available to the public unless you give it to them. Facts and figures, they create the credibility, though, for us that we need so the broader population will accept our key messages and campaign for them and act on them for us and with us. Communities also, by community I mean us, need to tie our indicators and measures to targets. It's a real challenge to figure out what they might be on the lower level, but I think you can come up with them broadly. And all of that work is only useful, I think, if you take your tool, you take your indicators and measures and put them into a publicly available tool. In our case, we use the report card. It might look different in different communities. The report card has allowed us to do things that were a tremendous surprise, and I'll get to talk a bit more about that. But fundamentally, underneath it, we've increased the number of people who understand the issue. It allows people to, wherever they are on the sort of spectrum of understanding about affordable housing, it allows them to move along. The biggest challenge for us, I think, is that once you've explained something that's eminently sensible, you think you only have to explain it once. But unfortunately, you have to explain it constantly and to the same person constantly and always sound respectful. So you need these tools that just gradually change people's awareness and understanding. Also, unless you have a tool, and by a tool I mean not a one-off tool, a tool that you can use over and over and over, you don't have any way of effectively keeping the issue a priority. And in this information overloaded world, that's a huge challenge. So the regular sharing of information and that's based on data allows you to keep it at the forefront. When you have a tool, it needs a storyline. And that's, to me, the key piece. You have to use your indicators and measures to create a storyline. In Ottawa, our storyline is a very simple one. There isn't enough affordable housing. People have incomes that are too low to pay rent. And so you have homelessness. And that sounds so simple, and we all know that. But believe me, the media don't know it. Politicians don't know it. If they knew it 10 minutes ago, they don't know it anymore. And it's a storyline you have to keep telling over and over and over, but the facts and the figures give you credibility to tell your story. I think I'm already going too long here. just going to say a little bit about government use of data. Our experience, all of our experiences, they use it very differently. It's very political, the way they do it. They describe incremental small changes as something that has a major impact on the community. And they re-announce the same funding and the same potential housing over and over and over. And the problem is, it sounds like enough is being done, and that creates a problem for us, because the community then gets caught. They don't understand where they're at. And they stop listening to us unless we have this famous tool. So just a couple examples here of what I would call indicators. To me, two key indicators, and I'm not saying these are what the group should come up with, but shelter use, because homelessness to me is the extreme indication of a failed affordable housing policy. The second one would be people on waiting lists. And these are numbers that have emotional resonance with anyone. But for those numbers, you need a backstory of data, CMHC rental market data, housing stock data, information on income benefits. You'd be surprised how few people know how little money so many people are living on. It's just not known. Also, I mean, it's not just OW and ODSP, it's minimum wage, old age security, it's everything that contributes to a low income has to become common knowledge. ANFA, for instance, is also developing on a sort of more global measure, and I'll be waiting to see if it's something that can be translated for a broad community use, but it will be on affordable rental availability and housing affordability. And the challenge is always to take the depth of knowledge we have and share it with people who don't know anything about what you're talking about. There's some really useful provincial data that'd be great to have, but it's very hard to get. Province-wide data on shelter use, hard to get. Eviction data, challenging. The actual amount of money spent on affordable housing any one year, very challenging. Or the actual number of units that were created in any one year. So those things, when you know you can't get it, you just move on and you use what you've got. I think I'm going to stop there because I could go on. I give this talk in 3 hours normally, so I do apologize.